loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
I'm here today to challenge the immigration bill. I think it's a piece of sort of right-wing propaganda that any right-thinking people in the country should be standing up against. There's so few refugees that are coming into the country, and obviously most of the refugees that are here, when their cases are heard, they have a right to remain. You know, they are genuine refugees. And I think this government's sort of using this topic as a distraction from all the other issues and the economic crises. The message they're sending out isn't a country I want to be part of, really. I'm here because I care. I mean, I really want to make, you know, England a better place, a more welcoming place, a more caring place, and that's why I'm here.
So I've come today because I just think it's really important what's happening. The Tories really have been just brutal in their reaction to refugees, and they're just not thinking about it in a way. They're just sort of thinking, they're just making it worse and worse and more inhumane, rather than going, well, actually, we do need people. How can we get them to come in a good way? So today is a great time to do this, raise awareness, because the bill's going through Parliament and there's so many amendments being put in because it's been rushed through. The Tories are just really not caring about people, and that's why.
The things that they are proposing, it's just pure racism, and at the end of the day, they're thinking of repealing the Human Rights Bill, which is insane to even think about, because what's going to come in place? What else is going to be allowed? They're thinking of allowing the imprisonment of children. They're thinking of deporting people who came here. And at the end of the day, the legal rights of passage they're not appropriate. People are not able to come here safely, and that is why they take these perilous journeys. They don't come here because they want to have fun. They're coming here because their lives are at risk.
The new illegal migration bill changes how the UK's asylum system works. It was brought in by Rishi Sunak to help solve the small boats crisis. Under this new bill, anyone arriving in the UK illegally will have no right to claim asylum. The government will now have the power to simply remove them to a safe third country without having to process their asylum claim. The bill disapplies Section 65 of the Nationality and Borders Act, which gives asylum seekers that have been victims of modern-day slavery the right to remain in the UK for a short amount of time to recover from physical and psychological trauma. This also means that they can be detained for up to 28 days without bail. The current Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, stated, "They will not stop coming here until the world knows that if you come here illegally, you will be detained and removed." There are many concerns worldwide that this new bill infringes on human rights law. The UN Refugee Agency stated, "We are profoundly concerned about the bill. It amounts to asylum ban. This is a clear violation of the Refugee Convention." They also stated that the first safe country idea is unworkable and that it defies international law.
I recently spent 2 weeks in Dunkirk volunteering with Mobile Refugee Support, who's a small charity who works directly with the people who are the people who take the small boats to England. It was pretty grim when I was there working with them, but coming back to the news about the illegal migration bill and how they're going to criminalize people who I've been working with. Humans who have fled unspeakable things and who need to reach England. Why do they want to come to England or Great Britain? Because they speak English or they have family here. Those are the two main reasons. They're not here to come and scrounge off the system, because these are amazing people who've come through a heck of a lot just to get to England, but they can't get here in a safe manner or legal manner. So the illegal migration bill is just, to me, another way that the government, not just our government, but the European government, many governments are just ignoring the fact that they need safe passage. And so my resistance to the illegal migration bill is to run jumble sales and create fundraising and awareness for Mobile Refugee Support and Falmouth and Penryn Welcome refugee families.
What scares me the most about this refugee ban bill is the fact that the government is not realizing that this will not stop people from coming here. This will only mean that people come here and don't seek asylum and don't go through that process and live in the UK as undocumented, and that is a really, really scary place to get to, and that means that people will be living in even more precarious conditions and will come here using even more dangerous means. So this is not a solution that will stop immigration, but it is a solution that will only make it scarier and more dangerous for people that are seeking safety and home to come and live in the UK.
As someone who has been through the refugee process, I can tell you that it is not a decision that anyone takes lightly. People do not leave their homes, families and communities behind unless they are facing persecution or violence. The new bill proposes harsher penalties for those who enter the country illegally, including detaining vulnerable men, women and children. Let that sink in. Potential victims of trafficking will also be prevented from accessing the modern slavery system. This will not only be ineffective in deterring people from seeking refuge, but it will also be a gross violation of their human rights. As a former refugee, I can tell you that it is already a long, arduous and often traumatic journey. The new bill will only make it more difficult for refugees to seek safety and protection, and will subject them to further harm, trauma and persecution.
The government has also recently introduced the new idea of housing the UK's refugees in renovated boats. The first of the boats, Bibby Stockholm, plans to house over 500 refugees and is currently being repurposed for housing at Falmouth Docks in Cornwall. The local community and unions gathered to protest the new measure above the docks and plan to do so each week that the boat is there. While to some this may seem like a reasonable solution to housing refugees, many claim that it is unethical and inhumane. Speakers at the protest touched on the trauma that these refugees have faced during their journey and how housing them in the same waters could only cause further harm.
We need to be loud and proud and stop this nonsense. This, as we've heard so far today, is sickening. Sickening that so many people have risked their lives crossing the channel, escaping from persecution, death threats, whatever it is. They've had to run for their lives, have had to risk their lives to come to a supposedly safe nation. To do what? To be imprisoned like they probably would have been in their own country, wouldn't they? We need to rise up. Raise up. We want freedom for those people who have escaped persecution. They deserve it. And with each and every group, union, whoever it is, uniting together, fighting this as one, we will make sure that happens. These people will live free in our nation, won't they?
It is isolationist. It is morally unacceptable and politically impractical to let the poorest countries deal with the crisis alone and cut our international aid. Nor is there any measure in this bill for engaging with the criminal gangs of traffickers directly and offensively, rather than trusting simply to what appears to be the unpredictability of market forces, as if traffickers were rationally trained economic actors and not appalling criminals.
My name is Shelley Meister, and I'm trustee of a charity called One and All Aid. Started out as an aid drop, but we also fund 2 education projects for Yazidi children in Central Iraq, because everybody can't make the journey. But we really support the people that can make the journey and need to make the journey.
We need safe passage because there's no sensible route for most people to get here. What would make more sense is, instead of spending all this money to criminalize people and put them up in horrible places, it would make more sense would be to have people on the ground, government officers in places where refugees congregate, or people that want to asylum congregate, and actually process them there. Because they need a place to go to get processed, because otherwise they have to make that journey across the sea. They don't want to make that journey across the sea. Nobody does these trips because they want to. They do these things because it's not safe at home.
We have a moral obligation to provide sanctuary to those who are fleeing persecution and violence, and we must treat these individuals with compassion, understanding, dignity, and respect, and not subject them to further trauma. I urge the lawmakers to reconsider the proposed illegal migration bill and to instead work towards a more humane and compassionate approach to managing immigration. Let us not forget that we are all human beings and that we all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of our country of origin, our ethnicity, our race, or our circumstances. By allowing this bill to pass, we will not only close our borders, but we will also be closing our hearts. And I'll just leave you with the short poem that I've written. Amidst chaos and strife they flee, no home, just soul and destiny. Blistered feet, hearts torn apart as they journey to a foreign start. Arriving to discrimination's door, they long for a life worth living. Let us open our hearts and embrace those in need of a loving space. Thank you very much.